So as you said earlier, weathering is caused by rain, changes in the temperature, and plants and animals. They wear away rocks and they wear away materials over time, over many, many years. Now, there's obviously many different types of weathering, but the main ones we look at is firstly chemical weathering. So any acids that are dissolved in rain, specifically in cities, where you have a lot of cars, buses, you have carbon monoxide, which gets expelled into the atmosphere and absorbed into the rain, which makes the rain very acidic. And when it rains, specifically in cities, that will then wear away certain types of stones and rocks. Over time, you look at some statues and buildings, you'll see they start to turn a bit green, and over many, many, many years, it will eventually start to wear it away. And that's chemical weathering. We have another one called freeze-thaw weathering. If you can remember in your book, so you can look back at it. Freeze-thaw is caused by a change in temperature. And if you think about freeze-thaw, think about a mountain. You're up in the mountain, at night it gets very cold, and that freezes whatever moisture is on the rocks. And in the day, it warms up, and it rains, and it fills any cracks in the rocks with water. That then freezes at night, and the cracks will then expand. When it freezes, it'll expand. In the day, it'll then melt, and that constant adding of rain, water, and it freezing at night causes the rocks, the cracks in the rocks to get wider and wider and eventually break. That's freeze-thaw. Freeze and thaw. Freeze and thaw. Got it? Good. The next one I want to look at is what we call onion skin weathering. Now, onion skin weathering, think of the desert. And as we spoke about previously, in the desert, you have very extreme temperatures. In the day, very hot, evening, equally as cold. So obviously when things are hot, they expand. So think about a little rock, make it a big rock in the desert. That big rock in the day gets very hot and it starts to expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger. In the evening, it gets very cold in the desert, and that will then contract. When it gets very cold, it will contract. So it expands, contracts, expands, contracts. And over many years of expanding, contracting, the outer layer of the rock will start to peel off like an onion skin, and that will then fall off. And it will continue to do that until the rock becomes from that size to very small, and eventually becomes sand, which is obviously why you have lots of sand in the desert. The last one, so those two, freeze-thaw and onion skin, is caused due to the change in temperature. And the last one I explained to you is plants and animals. We call that biological weathering. And if you see a crack in the rock, often birds will eat seeds, fly past, make a poo, and the seed will fall into the rock, crack of the rock, and voila, a plant will grow, maybe even a tree. And as that plant grows, the roots then embed themselves in the rock and cause more stress on the rock, which fractures it and breaks it up. Same thing with worms. Worms can eat through into rocks if it's loose, into hills. And that's how plants and animals work together to slowly weather away rocks. So there are three, we talk about four types. We've got chemical weathering, biological, freeze-thaw, and onion skin weathering. And we look into your books, you'll see lots of diagrams we've done on those, and you'll also see some of that on videos as well. So that's weathering.